Hello, data nerds. In today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about the advantage of using tables on your Excel file. In this case, I have created this sheet. You only have 10 records so far, and I am going to show you what are some of the advantages that you have once you implement a table on your file. So, in order to begin with this, the first thing that we're going to do is to create our table. To do so, I am going to place myself in any cell containing the data that I want to actually involve my table on. So I am going to click on one cell and I am going to use the shortcut Control A. What this will do is actually to select all the data. Now, if I don't want to do this, or maybe I do not know how to use the shortcuts, I am going to simply go ahead and click on the first cell and I am going to select the data that I want to include in my table. What I would recommend is to use the shortcut because in this particular example it's okay, but in case that we have like let's say 100,000 rows, that would be a little bit more complicated. So after we do this, we're also going to use the shortcut Control T, and that is going to actually pop up another window and it's going to ask us if we want to create another table, and it's also going to prompt a question that is actually if your table has headers or not. In this case, mine has. That's the name, the ID, the salary, and the last name. And that's the reason why I am going to create this. So I'm going to click OK, and I already have my table created. But let's say that we do not want to do it that way. So once again, I select the data that I want to include on my table. Under ribbon options, I am going to go to Insert, and then I am going to click on the tables option. I have this one that says table, and it's going to say the same information that I showed below before. So I'm going to click OK. Now, as soon as I create my table, I am going to see that another action is going to enable on the ribbon actions, and this is going to give me some buttons with some actually actions that I can select based on the one that I decide to use on my file. So in order to begin with, I have the properties option. In this case, I can apply the name for my table based on my needs. So if I want to name this table, let's say employee data, I can name it that way. So as I was saying, here we also have the option from out of this table that we just created, summarize with pivot table. So if we click on these tool options, what we're going to be getting is another pop-up asking us where we want to insert our pivot table. So our pivot table is going to be created from the table that we just created. As you can see, table 3, that's the name of the table that we assign. In this case, it was automatically assigned by the system, but you can actually edit it over here on the properties option, and that option is going to be actually the name that you are going to be entering here. Then we have the option to select where we want to put our pivot table. It can be on a new sheet or in an existing sheet. In case that we create a new sheet, that is actually going to create another sheet with the pivot table. Now, if we click here on existing pivot table, it's going to ask us for the location. In that case, we need to specify the cell in which that pivot table is going to be located. And last but not least, we have the option to add this table to the data model. But that is actually a more advanced topic, so we're not going to be covering that in this section today. Now, we also have the option to remove duplicates values. In this particular example, we do not have any, but in case we do, we can actually remove the duplicates. And then the other action that we have in the tools option is actually to convert to range that specific table. So as of right now, we have this on the tables option, and we can know for sure that it's a table because here, once we click on any cell, it's going to enable the table design option. But in case that we want to convert it to a range, we click on it, and it's going to ask us whether or not we want to convert it to a regular table or not. If we click yes, it's going to stay with the same format, but you see that now the table design action on the ribbon actions is no longer available. So if we go back one step, then we got a table one more time. Now, we also have the actions when we're working with tables. In some cases, we want to filter for a specific field because we want to gather certain type of information, and that's when this insert slicer button comes into handy. So when we click on it, as you can see, we have name, we have ID, we have the salary, and we have the last name. Now, here we can select any of the actions that we have. Let's say that we have 1 million of employees, just to give you an example and to make it, a little bit more complicated. Know for sure that this scenario can be different based on the type of data that we have, but let's say that we have a table orders. In that case, it can be more than 1 million orders. So we would like to filter actually based on a specific criteria. Let's say that we want to filter based on the ID because we want to know those customers that actually made the more make the more orders within the company. So we actually select the ID and we hit OK, and then we're going to be getting this slicer. So as soon as we actually remove the field and we say, hey, let's see what are the IDs for one-on-one. In that case, that information is going to be filtered per each of them. Then we have this option on the slicer that it will allow us to multi-select. What does option mean is that I would be able to select more than one ID at once, right? So in case that I want to remove those filters, I can click here on this option that says clear filter, and that is going to show me all the values at the same time. So those are just a few of the advantages that you can get once you use tables on your file. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you actually find this video useful for you. Remember to share it with anyone else that use Excel in your daily basis, and keep tuned for more videos like this. And if you actually would like me to cover any other topic, please leave me a comment below so I can actually cover it on the next videos. Thank you for your time and hope to see you soon. Goodbye now.